This is the way that every appraisal office ought to be. The exact opposite of what I experienced on the other side.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast.
Minisode.
I really did not expect this to become a series, I promise, but I want to follow up with the story that I've been telling you because I have experienced kind of both sides of the table through this process of getting a property refinanced. If you've not heard the minisodes in the past, I would go back and take a listen to those. Today's episode will not make much sense unless you listen to episode 754, The Good Old Boy Appraiser, and then there was a follow-up, 758, The Good Old Boy Ain't So Good After All. Seriously, that'll make a Netflix or a Hulu series on this thing. All right, folks, I want to pause here and remind you that we are sponsored by the great ANow software. I say the great ANow software, folks, because it truly is great at what it does. What does it do? It manages your entire appraisal office. Think of that. A software that can manage everything that you do, including orders, numbers, clients, maps, appraisers, commissions. It does it all. Check it out. Go to anow.com. That's ANOW.com. All right. For those of you who have not listened to the previous episodes, let me just summarize. Episode number, 754, was The Good Old Boy Appraiser. This is my introduction to an individual. And I'll just say this much, out of Tennessee. I own a property out in Tennessee, a recent purchase. I purchased with cash and then went through a refinance process to pull some money out for some other investments. And the lender found a very interesting appraiser who called me, and episode number 54 was very positive and very uplifting. I was relieved to talk to a gentleman, somebody who just spoke my language and it wasn't too uppity and wasn't too uptight. That was a very positive episode. And then I found out very soon, episode number 758, The Good Old Boy Ain't So Good After All. Folks, let me just summarize it this way. This guy left me high and dry. Super frustrating, ghosted me, went way over the due date. I couldn't get a hold of him, couldn't get a hold of his office. He refused to return my calls, my emails. By the way, I sent him a total of about 4 or 5 emails over the process. And never once did he respond. Never once. Now, I did confirm that he got the emails because I did talk to him on the phone. The last time I spoke to him, he hung up on me twice. I kid you not. And all I was doing, folks, I was not berating him. I was not angry. I was not unprofessional in any manner. I was simply saying, "Hey, man, what's going on here? I've got a lock, an interest rate lock. Can you give me an update? Can you tell me what's going on? Because we really need to get this thing closed, and we're just, the lender hasn't heard anything from you." And in the end, he basically, he claimed that after I think it was 2 weeks late on the, we were 2 weeks past our lock. And he says, "Well, this is just too complex. I can't do this." And I talked him out of the tree. We decided to proceed together. And then he claimed he had it done, and he claimed that one of his assistants was sick and couldn't come into the office, and he couldn't upload the report. And I said, I don't want to push you here, but can you not upload the report yourself? Can you not get somebody? We just need the report, man. Is there any way you can just upload it to the lender and we can get this thing taken care of? And he said, "I don't know how to turn on a computer. I never have. And it's going to sit on that computer until my assistant comes back." And that's when he hung up the phone the second time on me. I kid you not. That was how that experience ended. At that point, I went back to my lender and said, "Listen, I'm tired of dealing with this guy. I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of expending cash to extend my lock over and over and over again. Let's find somebody else." Guess what, folks? They did. And I'm here to tout their praises today. I don't normally call people out by name, but I'm going to today because this individual and this company bent over backward to help me, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate them. But first, I want to break and talk to you a little bit about ANow software. I called it the great ANow software to begin with, and folks, it really is great in the sense that it does everything in your appraisal office. Now, it's not going to write reports for you necessarily, at least at this time. They're working on some things there. But as far as what I use with ANow, folks, it manages each and every process when it comes to every order, right? When I say process, it is the assembly line. It shows me where everything is in the process, right? The experience that I told you about today would not happen with ANOW software because it would be screaming at you every day saying, you got a due date coming up, you got an overdue report, you got an overdue report, you got an overdue report, and it just doesn't allow you to get lazy, right? That's just one of the things that ANOW does. Check them out. Go to anow.com. Again, it's anow.com. All right, folks, welcome back to the program. We're talking a little bit today about an experience that I have had being on the other side of the table, not being an appraiser, but working with an appraiser. And of course, indirectly, this appraiser was hired through an AMC. I don't even know who the AMC was. And of course, the lender reached out to the AMC. And so imagine on the other side of the table, right? And a lot of times we get frustrated with AMCs and the follow-ups and the, where's the status? What's going on? That's what episode number 758 is all about. Just talking about, hey, if you're upset at your AMCs constantly reaching out for updates, there's a reason, right? And I experienced it being on the other side of the table, and I'm telling you, it was so incredibly frustrating dealing with this individual who had, in the beginning, all the Southern charm you can imagine. In the end, turned out to be, I'm just going to say, one of the biggest jerks I've ever dealt with. Honestly, he was. Anyway, listen to the episode. He was not a nice man to deal with. And it was extremely frustrating. It cost me a lot of money, thousands of dollars. I kid you not. I counted it up, thousands of dollars to extend that lock because he would not do his job. And in the end, he got zero. He got no money, as far as I know. It definitely didn't come off my plate. I looked very closely at that HUD-1, and if I had seen a second appraisal fee, I absolutely would have thrown a fit about that because he delivered nothing, and it was nothing but frustration. However, in comes the white knight. I eventually reached out to my lender and said, listen, I'm tired of dealing with this guy. I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of not knowing what's going on. Let's get somebody else. And she said, I agree. Let's do it. It'll be faster to do it this way than it will be to wait on this guy, even though he claims to have the report done. At this point, we don't have any choice but to move on. And so she reached out to the AMC. The AMC hired Miller and Associates out of Tennessee, and they happen to cover the area that I own property, an investment property in. And folks, I'm telling you from the very beginning, reaching out to me, updates throughout the process. There was one point that the individual, Andy, by the way, is his name, Andy Miller, reached out to me and said, hey, I just want to let you know that we are working on this. It is a challenging appraisal. I knew that, of course. He knew that going into it. But we will have it in by the end of the day. By the way, it was not even close to being late. It was a rush order. And he did an exceptional job. Got out there, I think, 2 days after the inspection or after the engagement letter, asked me a few questions, followed up on a couple of things, ended up getting this thing done in record time. I can tell you that I opened up the appraisal and I was, keep in mind, I'm an appraiser, right? I'm going to pick that sucker apart. I couldn't find a mistake there. I was super impressed. Andy had worked with a trainee. They had worked together. It seemed like all of the T's were crossed, all of the I's dotted. But in the end, it was a great appraisal experience all the way around, not just the report itself and the work that was done on the appraisal side, but the customer service, folks. And I thought, you know what? This is the way that every appraisal office ought to be. The exact opposite of what I experienced on the other side, right? There's a few bad apples out there, folks. I found one, unfortunately, but there's a whole lot of good ones out there as well. And Andy Miller, Miller and Associates out of Tennessee and Kentucky, great company. Thank you guys for bending over backward. Thank you for the kind customer service. Thank you for the the ability to work with a true professional. By the way, I got on Google and gave them a review on Google. I think that that's important as well. Just shout out not just to my appraiser friends here on the podcast, but shout out to any clients and customers that might deal with these individuals. Just a great positive experience, folks. It just taught me that there's still some great companies out there that are doing the right thing, and I hope, of course, that all my listeners are part of that crew. Thanks for joining me today, folks. Sure enjoyed being with you, and we will catch you next time.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.